your spelling and your reading comprehension. So if I go into ELA, all grades are in this one together. And again, I'm going to check on grades. All right, and then I can see, okay, this person has 2 missing assignments. Okay, honey, you got to get on this, okay? If it is a late assignment, you cannot post it on Canvas, but I will accept it in class as long as it's stapled and it's obvious what week it is and it's graded. So let's say I'm going to try to click on comprehension week 3. I want to get ahead of it, right? Well, you're not able to access it until that week starts. If you email me, I had a couple parents say, hey, I know that I have more free time this week than in 2 weeks. Can you send me some stuff? I'm more than happy to do that. So you know you cannot get into an assignment before it opens. So this child is going to go in and she's going to work on reading comprehension 2. And so again here, and I'm actually, after this Zoom, I'm going to insert some actual, what would you call them? They're the weekly planner. And so you'll see this kind of right here. And that just gives the teacher and you the idea of what the skills are and how to teach it. And so I'm going to include that right when I get off the Zoom. And I'll probably actually email everyone so you have that copy. But again, it just shows you what you do on day 3, 4, and 5. We do day 1 and 2 in class, and the kids did remarkably well. Everybody got 100% on those that turned them in. And then you'll see that you have those copies at home separately. You don't have to do day 1 and 2. We did them in class. If your child missed, let's say Tuesday, like I know Dean missed yesterday, then Dean would need to do day 2 along with the rest of the week. And then he can turn that in when he gets back to class. All right? And again, it just shows you like how to grade it. Each day is basically worth 3 points, and then 4 points, and then we multiply that by the 3 lessons. So we're only going to have you grade the skill practice, and if they did the strategy practice, this is just a bonus point. They get this. So 4 points possible each lesson times the 3 days gets them 12, and this student got 9 out of 12. And then I look at this, take a picture of all 3 days, day 4, day 3, day 4, day 5, submit this. Maybe it's easier for me if this is the first page, but as long as I have the total on one of the 3 pages, then I will insert that into Canvas. If it's late, staple it, tear it out, cut it out, and I will be more than happy to input it into Canvas manually. Okay, so that is basically our reading comprehension. And just a reminder, I'm going to send you guys it's called the Making Connections, which is really quickly, it's like a half paragraph of the instructions of how to teach the lesson, what's the focus of the reading. And as you know, reading's a part of everything, so the more time the kids preview the skills that they're going to learn for the week, like this week it's making connections. Week 3, it's going to be visualization, then organization, and determining important information. Those sub-strands of reading are so vital to the success of your students in social studies, science, and even math when there's so much reading. But that's pretty much what I have on reading comprehension. And again, same thing, you can start your assignment. They can click there, download it. If they have a camera on their computer, just kind of lift your paper to the, you know how to take pictures of that stuff and submit it. Again, if it's late, then just have your child bring it in the next Monday, staple it, and I will put it in manually. And that's kind of what I do on Wednesdays. I have a bunch of assignments that were turned in on paper pencil, and I spend about 2.5 to 3 hours on Wednesday inputting those into Canvas, among other things. So that is the reading comprehension. So let's see. As I kind of unshare that, does anybody have questions about the reading or the Saxon, which are the 2 big components of homeschool? If you want to unmute yourself, that'd be great.
Hi, this is Jessica, Gia's mom.
Hi there.
Hi, I have a quick question. She came home and said that you will tell us how long they have to read for, how many minutes a week, or how many. Is that coming, or am I jumping the gun.
You're jumping the gun a little bit. What I would say is that the reading that they will have, like their choice reading, is going to be basically parental discretion. The assignments that we'll give them cover the skills that they're working on. There will be some weeks that there might be 60 minutes of reading in lieu of a comprehension, kind of as a mental break. But by and large, it'll be iReady reading lessons, which I'm going to go over, the iReady math. But the reading is going to be, here's the task. And then I would just say, if they could read an hour on their own every week or more, great. And I don't care the genre, right? Like if they love sports, read a Sports Illustrated. So that's not going to necessarily be dictated in terms of minutes. I know that was in the past, but really the assignments I feel are good enough to sustain it. And then I would say after iReady reading, say, hey, can you read for an hour a week? I think that's completely doable.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's never a bad idea to say, hey, put down the joystick and let's, put down the phone and let's read for a half hour. But I'm not going to dictate that. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. If not, I'm gonna.
Question.
Yes. Sorry.
Just to clarify, you're okay with one page, right? With the score at the top, we don't have to upload 11 pages. Is that correct?
Yeah. The only thing I want everything is Saxon, and so Saxon.
Front and back.
Yeah, front and back. Some kids do 3 pages, and so that would be the only one that I don't need everything. Spelling, all I really need is the post test, and by your signature in the grade, that signifies that they did all the work. I'm trying to save you guys some time. It's minutia. I get that, and that's the signature validates that's the trust that we have between each other that they have it. If I'm noticing that the child is getting 100% on things and it's not really lining up with what I've seen, then we have conversations. But until then, and I only had that maybe with 2 students last year, but we want to make sure that that we have that trust built in. And you can always oversend things. That's totally fine. But I'm just trying to help you guys, if that makes some sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's see, Merrick, you look excited. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing. And I have a timer, about 7 more minutes to go. This week in class, we hit on growth mindset. And we're going to continue that next week. And as a basketball coach, I've been doing this kind of stuff for pretty much 20 years before teachers started talking about it. And so we feel like improvement is the big thing, right? How to deal with difficult situations, difficult content, and the ability to build strategies when things get frustrating. Like I know Saxon for some kids is oh my gosh, it's a buildup. And so some strategies, okay, let's find success incrementally. Not everyone is gifted with necessarily the natural way to grab numbers. And certain kids grab certain math concepts better than others. For example, geometry. I could do geometry much better as a child than I could into algebraic reasonings. And so my job is to enhance those gifts and to give them situations in which to experience some discomfort. Because true growing and learning is when there's a little bit of friction. If you have too much friction, then it's a complete wall. It's a 50-foot wall and you can't jump it. But these are sometimes speed bumps where they're easily hoppable. Sometimes there's a ladder. My job is to be the ladder, and your job is too. But I want them to really focus on that things are going to be more difficult, but it doesn't mean that we can't do them, right? We just are in the end of this pandemic, and some of us, including myself, have lost loved ones to the pandemic, and others have gotten sick, and all these things. But we survived that. If we can survive that, then I know we can survive a Saxon lesson, right? And building that grit to be able to finish what we start, that's the number one indicator of collegiate success. So I've been reading a bunch of books on this. I coach basketball. I have kids, I talk to colleges, and I talk to coaches and teachers at that level. And I know you're middle schoolers, but we're only 5 years away from that. Or being work ready when you graduate high school. the number one determinant of collegiate success and work success in the first 2 years is, can you meet a deadline? Can you meet a deadline? Can you, even if the deadline, even if the task seems rigorous, can you ask for help? And the way that most kids can get that is delaying gratification. So delaying gratification is more of a signal of success in high school and college than even how educated your parents are, how affluent your family is, even your home language. Students are able to put off fun and do work when work is required. Those kids do very well at the high school level, and those are the kids that finish college and don't come out of college with debt without a degree, which is the biggest crime, right? Especially with how expensive college is. Or the kids that get into a vocation, let's say electric work, and they're able to continue to persevere and to have the job that they want. So delaying gratification for me and for most kids is the number one thing. But also fun is a big part. So it's okay for kids to take a break. If they play soccer on a soccer team, great. If they are martial arts, or if they need a 15-minute break, and you say, okay, Merrick, you can go on your phone for 10 minutes and you can play a game, but when we get back, we're going to be dialed in. You know your child, and we know that there has to be a balance of fun because they're still kids. You only get to be a kid for 18 years, and so we don't want to forget that. But at the same time, we're in that transition where we're trying to get the kids to learn the life skill of, hey, fun is going to be there, but when it's time to grind, we've got to grind. And that's kind of my main love of this grade, is that kids are starting to see, oh my gosh, high school is right there. College is kind of right there. My job in the future is right there. And then they're dealing with all the temptation of how easy it is to access something fun or something that can get them in trouble. So how can we together navigate those rough waters? Because sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's very difficult. So that's kind of my main mission. And then I'm bringing that up because some parents have said, hey, my schedule is different. Can I do spelling, blah, 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 and Saxon? Yes, you know your schedule, and that's why you signed up for this. But also work with me in helping your child experience that discomfort as much as you know they can handle. And I told them this week, my version and your version of hard work is very different than their version. Even our best students in 7th grade think, okay, this is how hard I can work, and this is how bright I am. No, teachers, parents, pastors, coaches, we know that it's probably a little bit above that. And so our job together, along with the kids, is how can we elevate so they're able to experience that discomfort and then beat that challenge and then go on to the next one, rinse and repeat, right? And building that callus, so to speak, so that we're able to hold that shovel to get the hard work done. But I am also a person that understands humanity. I understand family events. I understand all of that. I have 2 kids of my own. They're so different, even though they're brother and sister. And so I understand that fun and other things come into play. And if you just communicate with me, I'm so happy to not necessarily bend. I don't think that's the right word, but to join in with you on this progress for each of my 34 kids. I have 34 students this year, which is big for me in this group, but I've had 45 in the public school. And so I'm hoping that you understand, there might be a delay in the communication because each of my 34 become my kids, like my nephews and nieces. That's how I kind of think of your kids. And I care about them that much, and I'm going to grind with them. So that's kind of what I have today. Let's see. I think I have everything that I wanted to cover. But again, just a reminder that Monday and Tuesdays, plan those dental appointments, ortho appointments Wednesday through Friday. If you're going to, if you're going to Knott's, try to do it on a Thursday because that's the beauty of our program. And so I do that with my child. Before she started driving, I was taking her to ortho. Hey, we're going to do Wednesdays, and that's the beauty of this. Missing school in class it's really difficult. And I'll leave you with this, and I appreciate you guys listening in. The days at school, like this week, we're starting math and writing with the 7th and 8th grade core standards and state standards. It's very difficult to